Good morning, everybody. It is Feed Your Brain Friday. Friday fun. Friday fantastic. Friday fabulous. Let's talk about your brain. Let's talk about sugar. Actually, cravings. Cravings. You know, our brain is really, really smart. And when it is missing something, some type of fuel, it's going to go to where it can get what it needs the fastest, the very fastest. Some people it's salt. Some people it's sugar. Could be caffeine. Well, if it's salt, that could be, now, not diagnosing, I'm just giving information. It could be that your adrenals have become fatigued. And when that happens, it causes your cortisol to be too high. Some signs that cortisol is high is you start to gain in your tummy, gain weight in your tummy, or at nighttime you have a hard time with insomnia, staying asleep. That could be a reason. The other reason, let's talk sugar. So, hey Krista, good to have you on here. We're surrounded by sugar, right? I mean, it's in most everything. You'd be probably surprised what it is in. I'm going to talk a little bit about from my book, Feed Your Brain, Change Your Life. I started out with this quote because I thought it was cute. And the quote was, "Sugar, no thanks, I'm sweet enough." I don't know who the author was, but I thought it was really cute. Did you know that the average American consumes 150 pounds of sugar each year? That's a lot. That's more than I weigh. That equals 3 pounds of sugar or 6 cups of sugar per week, 42.5 teaspoons per day. This amount is much higher than the 10% nutritionists suggest as a healthy amount. That's a lot of sugar. Hey, Tori, thanks for joining me. The recommended dose would be 13.3 teaspoons a day. So, you know, that is crazy. 200 years ago, Americans only ate 2 pounds of sugar. 1970, it was up to 123 pounds per year. And now we're up to 150 pounds of sugar, right? Sugar. The crazy thing about sugar is very highly addictive. In fact, it's one of the most addictive substances there is. And I'm reading this actually from my book. So if you don't got it, you can get it on Amazon. Feed Your Brain, Change Your Life. Take control of your brain, body, and emotions. And it's chapter 17. It says, one of the most highly addictive substances there is. One crazy study performed was they took mice, they put sugar, and they put cocaine out to see which one the mouse would run to. And the mice chose the sugar. I really like this quote. It says, did you know that sugar is 8 times more addicting than cocaine? And what's interesting is while heroin and cocaine activate only one spot for pleasure in the brain, sugar lights up the brain like a pinball machine. That's by Dr. Mark Hyman. So it's like it hits every pleasure receptor in our brain, our endorphin, and you know it lights up the endorphins, it lights up the dopamine, it makes you feel good, right? When you eat sugar, it makes you happy, right? Sugar makes you happy, and it's because it's hitting all those pleasure points, and our brain knows that sugar is going to get into our system really quickly, so it's going to give it what it needs. What I want you to think about is when you have a craving, there's a reason behind it. Now, it could be that you just like it, but more likely not. You know, when those that sweet tooth gets going in your, and you're like, ooh, I really want a piece of chocolate, or I really want that cake or something. Did you know that after 4 bites, only 4 bites, 1, 2, 3, 4, after 4 bites, the sweet tooth becomes satiated, and it's been taken care of. It only takes 4 bites. How many of you stop at 4 bites of something? Now you could, and I've done this many times, is when you are find something that your sweet tooth says, ooh, I really want this. And if you can truly only take 4 bites, and that means you wanting to be conscious, aware, mindful when you are having whatever that is, you'll notice after 4 bites, you don't even need it anymore. But the key is being mindful and conscious. Have you ever had, let's say you have a cupcake sitting next to you and you're working on the computer or you're watching TV or you're doing something, you get distracted and you look down and it's gone. And it feels like somebody has stolen your cupcake. I've done that before. I'm looking around going, who took my cupcake, right? Whatever. It's because we're eating it not conscious. We're just on autopilot, right? The second thing is, because our brain is so smart and it says, I want something, it's going to take sugar and use it to help your brain. Those neurotransmitters, those things I talk about, which are your happy, calm, feel-good chemicals, when they become depleted, they want to be fed. And part of the reason they become depleted is because they're malnourished. They're not being fed what they need. So they turn to what's fastest. Before you pick up that next craving, sugar, starches, comfort food, ask yourself, think, okay, am I doing this because it's around afternoon, evening time, and my brain says I've got to have some sugar? Well, if that's the case, that's a sign that serotonin is low, the positive mind. If you crave something for stimulation, for energy, for drive, like coffee or caffeine or sugar, that tells you that your dopamine is low. Your catecholamines are low. They're wanting to be fed. Like I said, brain says, I got to have something, right? If you're feeling like you're uptight, overstressed, can't calm down, want to relax, hey Karen, thanks for joining me, and you're just like, ugh, and all you want to do is relax, and your brain says, get some sugar, get some carbs, something that makes you feel better, something that, even though sugar is a stimulant, right? For some people, when you're in that state, it actually calms you down. Now, it could be because you're looking for something to comfort, reward, or numb you. Comfort, I want to feel love. Reward, I deserve it. Numbing, I want to check out. And so you're going to grab that sugar or comfort food or something to make you feel better. Hey, Kathy, thanks for joining me. To make you feel better, right? And you're going to grab what's the fastest. Most of the time it's sugar. Kind of crazy, isn't it? So if you can think to yourself, why am I craving? Then I actually have, there's 5 different amino acids that actually specifically target each of those neurotransmitters. 5-HTP, positive mind. Tryptophan, positive sleep. DLPA, happy. Tyrosine, energy, booster. And what am I missing? My brain's gone. Oh my gosh. Tyrosine, DLPA. Missing one. Oh, GABA. My favorite. GABA chill. If it's for one of those specific reasons, think about maybe an amino acid that's going to actually specifically feed that brain and get the brain to start firing correctly. Now, one of my favorite ones is when you feel like either you've skipped a meal or you go in that hangry feeling, right? That that commercial that was, I think Betty White was on, and she's playing football with these big football players, and they tackle her. She's on the ground, and they give her a Snickers, and all of a sudden she stands up and turns back into the football player, right? Now, I'm not telling you to grab a Snickers, but what's happening in that commercial, which is a pretty smart commercial, is that when you either skip meals or you eat a meal, a diet that's filled with lots of sugar, starches, or alcohol, you go into a hypoglycemic roller coaster, right? So that means what happens is your brain says, I got to have something. Right here, your prefrontal cortex is your cognitive thought process. I'm going to make this choice and this will be the outcome, right? It's your reasoning, it's your judgment, it's thinking through. Well, when it becomes starving, it literally shuts down. So this starts, part of your brain is being starved, and it actually turns off. And when that happens, you become irritable and irrational. Irritable is that hangry feeling, and irrational is, I want what I want it now. And our brain is saying, give me something. That's if you're sitting at your desk and you're working and you've waited too long to eat. Hey, Julia, good to see you. And all of a sudden you're like, I got to have something now. And you find yourself rushing to the pantry to find something, some sugar, something, because your brain is like, I got to have this. I got to have it now. Okay? That is what happens when you go into hypoglycemia. And it's because your blood sugar has dropped so far that your brain is like, I got to have something. Give me something now. Okay? So what you do is, instead of taking something, well, what we do is we end up getting a whole bunch of sugar or carbs, and we eat it so fast because our brain is like acting like it's going crazy. And because we take so much, it causes us to spike again. So we get that spike, right? That instant energy sugar rush. And then your brain says, enough. And it says, so it puts off insulin, and we crash. Go back down, right? So now back up down here. And your brain puts off adrenaline. It says, feed me, which causes you to crave something, increases your appetite, and it causes you to keep going up and crash, up and crash. The thing is the first time you crash, you're high, and then you go down. The second time you crash and you take sugar, you go high, but not quite so high. So that sugar rush isn't quite the same. And then you go lower. And then the next time it goes lower. It's like a backward step, right? Now, I used to eat sugar like crazy. In fact, I was never without sugar. I had it in my pockets. I had it in my purses. I had it in my car. I had it everywhere. I don't ever know if I ever had that felt that sugar rush, because I always had sugar. However, now I'm aware of, why am I craving? If it's one of those 4 reasons I said before, then grab one of those other amino acids. If it's overall and your blood sugar is not stable, so your blood sugar keeps dropping, you go into hypoglycemic state. The next one is glutamine. This is glutamine. It's called Craving Be Gone, and it's called Craving Be Gone for a reason, because that's what it does, is it reduces your cravings, helps with digestive health, and it helps to keep your blood sugar level. It's also it's a brain cell food. It's actually feeding your brain what it needs. You create glutamine in your body. The challenge is if you don't create enough of it, it goes in all different places. So it's used in your muscles, in your brain, in your every part of your body, right? And it's easy to become depleted. One way it becomes depleted is exercise. So when you get done with exercising and you're like, I got to have some sugar, right? If you've ever felt that feeling when you get done and your body's like, give me something, it's because it's become depleted of glutamine. So there's a couple tricks in here that you can do, and it doesn't really have much of a flavor, right? So if I'm really like craving sugar and I'm like, I'm struggling to get this under control, there's 2 things I'll do. First of all, one thing I'll do is I'll take this, and I will actually, I'm going to open it up, okay? So if you can see this, here's my cup. And I'm going to pour it into my cup here, okay? So take it out of the capsule. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of water. It doesn't mix super good, but at least it gives it a carrier. Okay, so just I don't know if, I can't even see it. Anyway, so I'm going to be quiet for a minute, but I'm going to put this in my mouth. I'm going to swish it around for 30 seconds, and then I'm going to explain why. So, I'm going to swallow it. Now, if you saw me kind of go like this, it's not because this is terrible tasting. It's because my water is really cold and I have a tooth back here. It's very sensitive. So, anyway. So, that's the first thing I'll do. Because by taking it, that's called taking it sublingually. The back of your tongue, you have a mucous membrane. And when you take things sublingually, it goes right into the bloodstream quickly. When that happens, within 5 to 7 minutes, or even less, that craving should go down substantially. So if it really truly was that your brain just needed to be fed, that craving may go away completely. And if it doesn't, at least if you're like, you know what, but that still sounds good. Now your sweet tooth's like, I really still want a little bit of whatever that was. Makes it manageable. The other thing I do is I take my water. And I know I'm going to be going busy all day long. So what I do is I open my water. I take my little capsule here. And I open it up. And I put it in my water. And then by doing that, I just mix it around. It doesn't have a flavor. If you put more than one in, you'll have a little bit of a flavor. But not really. So I'll just take it, mix it around like that. Then what I do is I just sip on it all day long. And then as I add more water, I add another capsule. That way, my brain is being fed. The other thing you can do is eat protein. So when you eat protein and good fats such as avocado, olive oil, what that does is it makes it so you don't have those cravings, right? Because you're more full and you stay fuller longer. Even if you go into a hypoglycemic state, grabbing a hamburger is going to raise that a little bit. When you go into a hypoglycemic state, the idea is to take something in a little tiny bit to get your blood sugar up. So you're better off going to get a hamburger. This last quote is what I want to give you, and it's out of my book, like I said. Feed your brain, change your life. It says, I read a quote that says, sugar is the alcohol of the child, by Dr. Robert Lustig. Okay? So children, this sugar also affects children. And it affects them in a big way. So when a little child gets up in the morning, they're having sugary cereals and a piece of toast with jam on it, and then you send them to school, they don't have enough in them to keep their brain working throughout until they go to lunch. So it's going to be better to make sure somehow they get a little bit of protein, a little bit of oil, good fats, so that when they go to school, they're ready to think. Their brain is working correctly, and they got that. Pretty interesting, guys. If your struggle is with cravings, with sugar, starches, obviously there's other cravings which move more into the addiction. Now, it's funny because sugar is actually an addiction. We don't want to think of it as that because most of the time when you think of addiction, you're thinking about the hardcore addiction. But sugar is an addiction. So, anyway, if I can help you, if this sounds interesting to you, then message me. You can go to my website, hypnoaminos.com. You can pick up some glutamine. Glutamine Be Gone. The cool thing is it has 120 capsules in it, and it's $21.99 a bottle. Can make a difference. Anyway, guys, I hope you have make it a fabulous Friday. Feed Your Brain Friday. Keep smiling. I'm Shelly Jo with Shelly Jo Hypno Aminos, also known as Amino Acid Lady. Go do something fun.